Welcome to another video with familiars. Today I'm going to be going over the not so often played rainbow familiars. It gets its name because you get to play cards like Abundant Growth, which make any color of mana, and Utopia Sprawl to get whatever mana you need, playing at least Bant colors, and then in the sideboard we have a bunch of red cards. So we're going to be making all kinds of mana. And the way that this deck works is it is a combo with Snap and Archaeomancer to make infinite mana, or Pestermite and Archaeomancer to make infinite mana. The way that you do this is you take a forest and you chant it with Utopia Sprawl, and then now that is making 2 mana. If you have Pestermite in play, you can flicker Archaeomancer and Pestermite to untap the land. And then if Ghostly Flicker doesn't cost you very much, if it only costs you 1 because you have 2 Sunscape Familiars in play, that's making 1 green every turn. Now if you enchant that with Abundant Growth, now you have infinite of any color mana with Archaeomancer and Pestermite. That's kind of a side combo, and then the main combo in the deck would be something like 4 Sprawls. So this is now tapping for 5 mana, and then 1 Chancery. And now this taps for 7 total mana, and then Archaeomancer is 4, Snap is 2. So if we play Archaeomancer, snap it, untap these 2 lands, play Archaeomancer, snap it, untap these 2 lands, we're making 1 extra mana every turn. This can be reduced by having Sunscape Familiar. So if you have Sunscape Familiar, it reduces the cost of Archaeomancer by 1, and it reduces the cost of Snap by 1. So that means that the total mana requirement is actually 5 now to play Archaeomancer plus snap it back. So we could get rid of 2 of these Utopia Sprawls. So that makes it look a lot less tricky to make this happen. Now, the important thing to remember is that loop does cost at least 3 blue mana because of the 2 pips here and the 1 pip here. So if you have 2 Sunscape Familiars in play, that's only going to reduce 1 more cost of Archaeomancer, making this total loop just cost blue, 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 blue. So for something like that, you could have Utopia Sprawl on the Snow-Covered Forest plus an Abundant Growth. Now it taps for blue, blue, and then this Chancery taps for blue X. So now we're making infinite white mana, which doesn't really go anywhere. So you'd want to have something like this to make infinite blue and white mana. If you have something like Forest plus Abundant Growth plus Utopia Sprawl and 2 Sunscape Familiars, you can just flicker Archaeomancer and Pestermite infinitely, keep getting back flicker, keep untapping your land that taps for 2, and then you're going to make infinite of any color mana. So it's pretty simple. We have 4 Abundant Growth, which is a 1 mana cantrip and a fixer, 4 Preordain, 4 Utopia Sprawl. It's just the best enchantment ramp in the format. It's a little bit risky, I would say, to just open up like a Forest Utopia Sprawl and try to keep, but you do what you can. 4 Sunscape Familiars, that's a cost reducer to make so that our combo doesn't take that much mana. 3 Negates to protect everything, and especially because this deck is super weak to land destruction, we want to protect against things like Pillage and Molten Rain and Acid Moss and Stone Rain, stuff like that. 4 Snap, it's the combo, and it is really good interaction when you have lands that tap for extra mana. You're just making sure your opponent's not doing very much, and you're just accelerating your game plan. 3 Seagate Oracles. These are a flicker target to draw your deck. They are a roadblock for fairies. They're a blocker. It's pretty good. 2 Compulsive Research. Compulsive Research is actually your win condition. Once you make infinite mana, you just draw your deck, get your second Archaeomancer, flicker the 2 Archaeomancers, point Compulsive Research at your opponent, and then make them draw their deck. Now, when you, just as a sidebar, when you have the 2 Familiars in play and the 2 Mancers, every Compulsive Research is going to cost you 2 blue mana to mill them 3 cards. So if they have, that means it's 10 blue mana per 15 cards. So that's where you want to think about when you're making the mana. Like, okay, they're at 45 cards. I need to make 30 blue mana to flicker and compulsive them over and over and over and over. So Pestermite here does make that combo easier because you can just flicker untap. Snap, Mancer, snap, Mancer, snap, Mancer is kind of click intensive and can get your heart rate running quite a bit. In the sideboard, I've got, let's see, sort by color. We've got one more Negate for land destruction, a random Hydroblast, just in case I run into burn, or there's other things that I want to counter, like the Cascader Pirate. 3 Pyroblasts and a snow-covered mountain to support it. Very, very helpful against Fae and Tron. Any blue deck. 2 Gorilla Shamans because Affinity just needs their lands destroyed. I mean, I don't have any... this is just the best way to punk out Affinity, basically. And then 4 Moments Peace against, like, Stompy Heroic aggro decks when you want the game to go long and set up your combo. 2 Weather the Storm against Burn, obviously. And then a random Wilt. This could be any sort of enchantment and artifact destruction, but it does cycle, so that's why I decided to use this. It didn't come up in my league, but it could be anything. So now I want to show you a really, really awesome game, and let's get into it. So show the kind of the power of this deck. Okay, so try to step through. I'm going to keep this hand because it has 3 cantrips and mana fixing, and my Sunscape Familiar. So my opponent leads off. They're on Tron. I lead off. I'm just going to cycle here. Now, if you're playing this deck, you don't necessarily want to land Abundant Growth or Utopia Sprawl on your first force because you might want to bounce it with the Chancery, but I figured turn 2 I want to play the Familiar anyway. So I'm not going to worry about that, and then turn 3 I'll bounce the Plains. They lead on Bog, which means they don't have very much, and I decided to play out the Forest here because that gives me extra green mana in case I draw a Utopia Sprawl, and then I can still bounce this. The Plains is really only there in order to cast the Familiar, and otherwise it doesn't make that much of a difference. So opponent leads on Ornament, and I find Preordain into a Utopia Sprawl, just like I said, which is awesome. So I get to Utopia Sprawl my Abundant Growth land, and then play Chancery here. I pick up that land. So turn 4, they go for Drifter of Ephemerate, which is scary, but what I like to do here is just snap the Drifter so that they lose their Ephemerate forever. I find another Utopia Sprawl, which is very good, and Snap's going to make me a bunch of mana. So what I decided to do is just Abundant Growth to see what I draw. Didn't draw into anything, because I really wanted to use this mana from the Snap, but I don't want them to get a free Ephemerate on the Drifter, so I just snap it and then wait. It's not looking super good, but we'll see what we can do. Now the opponent's on turn 5, they don't have Tron yet, and they're going to just hard cast a Mulldrifter. Now the fun begins. Okay, so we open with Mulldrifter. What I forgot here was that I could just evoke the Drifter and pulse it, but let's see what we do. So I play the Drifter, I evoke the Mulldrifter, draw 2 snaps. Oh my god. So that's 1 Mulldrifter. So now we tap our mana, snap it, cast it, evoke it again, draw 2 snaps, so I'm going to snap it again. Now here I think I probably should have let it die, because I want to pulse it, but who knows? Because then the snap would have made more mana with the Utopia Sprawl there. So I'm going to sprawl that up, play the Familiar, play Sprawl. Oh, I just cast it, hard cast it. So I'm going to flicker it. So yeah, that was my mistake. I should have let it die. So how many times have we played Mulldrifter? We don't have to count. So we went Mulldrifter snap, Mulldrifter snap, Mulldrifter snap, flickered the Mulldrifter. So now I remembered that I should be just letting it die. So we're just going to evoke it, I think. So evoke a Mulldrifter. So let's go. Back in time. Storm is already 9. This is turn 5. Turn 4, turn 4, turn 5, Exotico, turn 5. Okay, 1. Cast Mulldrifter, 1. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we've cast Mulldrifter 4 times. I'm just going to keep counting. This is awesome. Alright, so now I decided to let the Drifter die. Okay, so this one's down. So now this Pestermite can untap this to make 1, 2, 3 mana. So I'm going to tap it for green. Evoke the Mulldrifter again. That's 5. I lost track of count again. Okay, we're going. Okay, drawn to the 4th snap. So I just snap the Mulldrifter. Six. Cast another familiar. It looks like I just hard cast the Drifter again. And because I had a Drifter in the yard to get back. So now I'm going to play the Pestermite to get more mana, floating a green. Evoke a Drifter, looking to just get it back. And here, if we find a Archaeomancer, we just win. So that's why I'm doing all this. So that's 7. Pulse it back. Evoke it again. Well, okay, sorry. That's 8. Let it die. Preordain. 5-0 Archaeomancer, and that's the win condition. So we got to cast Mulldrifter 9 times on turn 5. It's a pretty good game. So now I'll just let it run, but we play out the Archaeomancer. I get back Ghostly Flicker, and then I'm just going to flicker the Pestermite and the Archaeomancer to make infinite mana, and then I would just flicker Mulldrifter and Archaeomancer to win the game. Because we can just draw our deck, get our other Archaeomancer, and then just start compulsive researching our opponent. So it really shows the power of that Rainbow Familiars, and I'm probably going to play this a couple times, see if I can put out a league, but hope you enjoyed. Thanks.